this is the perfect pairing with the mission of our newsroom, which is to serve and reflect the community. So I'll also tell you what we're not about tonight. So we're not here to give you a TED Talk. We're not here to, give a speech that we're perfected at Toastmasters. We're not going to lecture you. We're not going to show you a slideshow. These stories aren't going to sell you anything, not even an idea. Instead, this is storytelling. And storytelling is kind of like visiting. And we all know how to visit. We pay attention to the person that we care about, we listen, we open our hearts, and we open our minds. And we ask you to do that tonight for these 7 neighbors.
So some of these storytellers are going to be polished and professional. Some will be more casual and conversational. Other stories will be breezy and funny. Others will reflect more complicated truths within our community. So we ask you to receive all of them because that's how community change happens.
Now, before we get started, I just want to say that a couple of our stories will deal with some sensitive topics. One story has to do with the loss of a child, and another story has to do with military casualties. And I know these are hard topics for some of you, and I just want to let you know before we get started. Our theme tonight is family and holidays. So we picked this theme for obvious reasons. Holidays are quickly approaching, and many of us are going to be spending time with our families.
Okay, so let's get started. I'd like to welcome Robin Cohen Westmiller to the stage. She's from Camarillo. She's a local author, so you may know her by her pen name, which is Raven West. Her story tonight is about creating a new holiday tradition.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you. Good evening. I bought this shirt back in 1997. Looks brand new, right? That's because I only wear it once a week every single year. Now, the Hanukkah miracle is it still fits. Now, in the Jewish tradition, our December holiday, we don't go rushing around being all stressed out about doing everything in one day. No, Hanukkah is eight nights. If you missed the first one, you got 7 more. No stress. Well, back when I first bought this shirt, my 3 daughters were fairly young, and they knew the first night of Hanukkah was super special in our house. It was the one night of the year their mom actually cooked. And one of the favorite things they loved my cooking was my famous latkes, which is fried potato pancakes. On this particular year, Hanukkah fell on a Sunday, which was great. I didn't have to work, plenty of time to get ready. Drove my daughters to Hebrew school, came home, got ready for the traditional Hanukkah dinner with my traditional Hanukkah cooking utensils, the electric potato peeler. It's called a daisy stripper back then, by the way. The electric frying pan, my electric food processor, put the electric menorah in the front window, popped the cassette in the stereo, all ready. And at that time, I was also a troop leader for the National Jewish Committee of Girl Scouts. So I was preparing for that week's meeting, which was going to be on Monday. Of course, the theme was Hanukkah. So I sat down at the computer and I took out the book. I started. Hanukkah means dedication. It's a yearly celebration of an event that took place way back in 168 BCE when the Maccabees fought off the Greeks, the Syrians, who had invaded their temple. After they won the war, they came into their beautiful temple, kind of like this room here, and it was a disaster. It was a total wreck. And the one thing they had to do before they did anything at all was light the eternal flame. Now, in every synagogue and every temple all over the world, there's a light, an eternal flame over the ark, which contains the Torah, first 5 books of Moses, Old Testament, the Word of God. They couldn't do anything without that light being lit. But there wasn't any oil. The Greeks had just poured it out everywhere. They're looking all over the place, and lo and behold, they find this little tiny bottle, a huge bottle of oil, just enough to last for one night. So what were they going to do? We had to pray. We had to dedicate the temple. They put the little bit of oil into the lamp, the internal flame. They lit it, and by some miracle, that little bit of oil lasted for 8 nights, just enough time for them to make brand new oil that would keep that light, the eternal flame, God's will, the warmth and the love and the hope burning. So that turned into the 8 nights of Hanukkah. And it also became why we cook potato pancakes in oil, jelly donuts in oil. We play a little game with the dreidel, which is here if you can see, that has 4 Hebrew letters on it that says a great miracle happened here. So I'm typing all this out, and I get down to the discussion for the meeting of that week, which said, can you imagine your home without electricity, without television? Are these gifts from God? So I hit the save button on the computer, power goes out. But at the time, we lived in Thousand Oaks in California, and we always had wind, and power went out every once in a while. It was really no big deal. I didn't think anything of it. I looked at the clock, everything was all set, drove down to Hebrew school, picked up my girls, brought them home. Still no lights. It's starting to get dark. I'm still saying, okay, no problem. Phone was working. Remember phones? I called the electric company. We regret to inform you there's been a major power outage in your community. We don't expect the power to be on for the next 6 to 12 hours. Sorry for the inconvenience. Thank you. So the kids are getting antsy. I said, okay, guys, put away the electric menorah, put away the electric potato peeler, put away the electric food processor, put away the electric frying pan. We're doing this by hand. So the next few minutes, my daughter's running around with flashlights. We're going through all the drawers in the kitchen. We found the potato peeler. We found the hand grater. We put everything together. It was all done just as it was starting to get really dark outside. And I go into the cupboard to get the oil to fry the potato pancakes. It's not there. So my little 7-year-old daughter comes over and goes, Mommy, I took the oil to Hebrew school for our Hanukkah party, and there was that much left. I mean, great. No power, no oil. I was beginning to feel like the Hebrews were old. Said, well, let's do what we can. So we mixed up all the ingredients. I poured a little bit of oil in the frying pan. 1 potato pancake, 2 latke, 3 latke, 4 latke. We cooked up the entire batch. And the kids were just excited. And it came time to light the first candle of Hanukkah. We put the menorahs in the front window. In the dark of the house, there was not, outside on the street, not a single Christmas light was lit, not a single tree anywhere was pitch black. We did our first night. You light the Shema, that Shema lights the other candle. There were 4 menorahs, 1 for myself, 1 for my 3 daughters, and the light of those menorahs not only lit up the entire living room of our home, but because it was pitch black outside, the glow came over the entire neighborhood. Then we started playing the dreidel game. My daughter took out her clarinet. My husband took out the guitar. We're singing the Hanukkah songs. Laughed really funny at the irony. Peter, Paul, and Mary's very popular song, Don't Let the Light Go Out. And it was the best first night of Hanukkah we've ever had. So flash forward about 10 years. Sure, it still looks good, right? My middle daughter is now married. She's living up north. I get a frantic phone call from her. Mom, I'm watching a YouTube video on how to make these latkes, and the power went out. What am I going to do? I said, hey, Kim, relax. Do you remember when? Do you have a potato peeler? Yes, I do. Do you have a grater? Yes, I do. I remember that was the best night ever. Hey, kids, come on over. Don't put the lights on. We're going to be fine. The next night, I get a call from her other sister saying, we remembered that too. Let's do this for the second night. Let's turn all our lights off. And we'll connect the Google Hangout, and we'll all watch everyone's candle lighting the first night in all of our homes. It's a great idea. And that's what we did the second night. Flash forward again, another 10 years or so. We're doing it every single night on the first night of Hanukkah for the next 5 years. We're lighting the candles together in California. And as things go with children, they marry, they get kids of their own, and they move. And this year, the first night of Hanukkah is December 2nd. It's going to hold a very specific significance for our family and many, many families due to recent events. And on the first night of Hanukkah, the home in Northern California with my daughter and her 2 children will be pitch black. Our home in Southern California will be pitch black. My older daughter's home in Texas with our 18-month-old grandson will be pitch black. And my daughter Michelle with her husband Barack, not that one. No kidding. We'll be joined by our brand new member of our family, who is now 2 months old. And at the same time, all across the country, we will have on our computer screen the light, the eternal flame, being lit from New Jersey to Texas to Northern California to Southern California, illuminating our entire country and bringing wisdom and light, love, and hope from sea to shining sea. Isn't it amazing how much you can see when the lights go out?
Thank you, Robin. Thank you for sharing that story. We all need a plan for when the light goes out. So before I welcome the next storyteller, I want to give a shout out to all of our coaches. We have a team of journalists from the Ventura County Star who coached all of our